I want to welcome our presenters. In fact, a very important partner of MEIEA who's made this summit possible through their generous sponsorship, the Recording Academy's Producers and Engineers Wing. And today we have Ms. Maureen Droney, Senior Managing Director, and Ivan Barias, Producer, Songwriter, and Engineer. Thank you so much for being here today. And I know you guys are going to talk a little bit about the Producers and Engineers Wing. So take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. So sad not to meet you in person. I was really looking forward to that, to being at the MEIEA conference, but I know you all feel the same way and we're doing the best we can. So I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about the Recording Academy, and then Ivan will talk about the Producers and Engineers Wing specifically, although I will say the Producers and Engineers Wing is currently celebrating its 20th anniversary in existence. So it's an interesting year for us in many ways. There are approximately 6,400 members of the Recording Academy's overall 20,000 membership are in the Producers and Engineers Wing. And as such, they are voting members of the Recording Academy, meaning voting in the Grammy Awards. The Recording Academy, as I'm guessing you know, is the membership organization behind the Grammy Awards. And the Grammy Awards, as you may or may not know, a lot of people don't know this, they're the only music awards show where the winners are decided by their peers who are hands-on music creators, the professional musicians, songwriters, performers, producers, and engineers, etc., who are actively hands-on in making recordings today. We've always worked hard to have a relevant Grammy Awards voting body, but as you may have read over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of trauma and self-examination, and we're working even harder to have a diverse and relevant voting membership that truly does reflect today's music makers. What else do we do? Well, the Recording Academy is very active in advocacy for music creators. We're always at work in Washington, D.C. and around the country to advance legislative matters that are of importance to music creators. Everything from lobbying for terrestrial radio performance rights, to fair copyright protection, to fair payment for songwriters and other creators. And of course, recently we've been working extra hard to ensure music professionals, many of whom are, as you know, independent contractors, making sure they're eligible for pandemic relief funds. The Recording Academy also has a well-known charity called Music Cares that provides assistance to all music makers in need. And it's important for you to know this because it's not just members of the Academy that they help. It's people who work in the music business. Music Cares, as you may have heard, has been really busy lately. They raised almost $20 million for COVID relief, which has already been distributed. The need is so vast. And now they're working on another round of raising further funding. And that's in addition to their ongoing efforts and projects for non-pandemic needs, like substance abuse help, dental health, hearing clinics, and free customized hearing protection. Just so many things they do all year. So that's in addition to what goes on all year. We also have the totally amazing Grammy Museum, which, while it's physically closed now, has just launched a very cool new online subscription series. It's called Collection Live, and it's of the performances and conversations from the museum's 12-year history, because just about when we were open, just about everybody who came to town, and it's LA, stopped by the Grammy Museum, did a performance or a conversation. So there's a whole great collection of performances. Everybody from Selena Gomez and the Blind Boys of Alabama to Phineas and Billie Eilish and the Black Pumas. I also almost forgot to tell you that there are two other things the Grammys do that relate a lot to what you do, and that's Grammy U. I'm sure many of you know that, or perhaps have Grammy U as part of your schools. But Grammy U, for $25 as a one-time membership fee, people in music programs and people in colleges can be part of Grammy U, which has a pretty comprehensive programming and heading towards more, and for the term of while they're in school, and also for 2 years after, to help them. They're also launching just recently a alumni program. So that's another big important step for Grammy U. I think they have something like 21,000 alumni now. They've been around for probably 10 years. So, and then we also have the Grammy Music Education Coalition, which I almost forgot to mention. And their goal is to have music education in every school in the United States. So they started out that they're in like 3 years old, maybe now, 3 years old, do you think?
Yeah, 3 years old now.
And their goal, they started in Tennessee, working with Tennessee and another state. I can't remember at the moment. You can see
it's in the city of Philadelphia.
Was it Philly? Okay, because we do so much. I can't even keep up. Departments can't even keep up with everybody and everything they're doing. But they have that lofty goal to raise the money to help put music education in every school in the United States. So that's what the overall academy does. And I'm going to turn it over to Ivan to tell you some about the Producers and Engineers Wing.
Thank you, Maureen. And again, happy to be here with you, with all of you. Wish this would have been in person, but as we've all experienced, we're relegated to being Zoom professionals and reporting and presenting in a virtual space. This is important to us because as Maureen so eloquently stated, education is central to the Academy's mission, and any way we can support at the P&E Wing, we're more than happy to do so. We're big on advocacy as well. The P&E Wing was founded for advocacy reasons, originally after the U.S. Millennium Copyright Act in 1998, which left producers out of the legislation for digital performance rights. So our members are super active in promoting our legislative initiatives and ensuring that their rights are included. We also focus on best practices in recording. We have 12 chapters around the country, and they all have P&E Wing committees. And we have quite a lot of other committees, including one right now that is going into the area of immersive audio formats, like Dolby Atmos, Sony 360, and things of that nature. These committees are made up of members around the country who share knowledge and experience to help make our industry better. And frankly, we're really impressed and awed by all of them and the work that they do. And our members care a lot about how their records sound, and they want their work to be best heard by listeners and consumers alike, sounding as good as it did when it was created in the studio environment. They also care about proper labeling, file management, accurate crediting, and recording metadata, things that we all call the sexy aspect of making music, which sometimes seems so insignificant until the more important aspect of why we do this, which is to monetize our music, comes into play. And we realize how these areas are super important to the fabric of making sure everyone is properly compensated. So these are areas that really mean a lot to us. And we're actively making them part of our mission and central to our agendas yearly. And we're still fighting in that arena. The music business is once again the wild, wild west when it comes to how records are made, and our members tend to be the problem solvers. So there are quite a few problems to solve, from, like I was mentioning, a lot of unlabeled tracks to the 2020 streaming version of the Loudness Wars, which we're also working with some of the streaming services to figure out solutions to help in that specific area. Our engineers and producers are the ones who on a day-to-day basis have to make sense of projects created in this new DIY world of recording, while also ensuring that the artistic integrity of the work that is intended to sound the way they made it and the emotional impact makes it down the streaming pipeline. Our committees are all volunteers, and they have created several white papers on master delivery recommendations, recording in high resolution audio, proper crediting, et cetera. And there is one coming from this recently convened immersive audio subcommittee. Also back in April, at the height of the pandemic, we published a list of considerations for recording studio reopening guidelines during our current phased reopenings across the country. You can find all of these guidelines currently and the recommendations at www.producersandengineers.com. We also work with manufacturers, educators, technology companies, record labels, and the streaming services. For example, we advised Apple when they created the MFIT standard, which is Master for iTunes. Amazon consulted with us before they released their new high-def music tier, and we regularly work with other industry organizations such as the RIAA, DDEX standards, and other best practices that are significant to all of this that I just mentioned. So I'll turn it over to Maureen to bring us on home and I guess take questions.
Yeah, I don't know if we can take questions, but we're happy to. So in a nutshell, that's what we're really about, is making life and work better for music creators, especially those who work behind the scenes, while also being a resource to help educate future music creators. We'd like to know all of you better. That's why I'm sad we're not there in person, and to be a resource for you.
We got a couple of minutes for a question or two. I know that you've delivered a couple of white papers. Ivan, were you just mentioning where we can find those, and can we distribute those to our memberships, and then what's the best way to go about that?
Yes, you can. www.producersandengineers.com.
And it's A-N-D. Our official name has the ampersand in it, but this is just producers, A-N-D, engineers.com. Scroll down a little. We've got a new page coming, actually, where it will be easier to find. But if that's our direct link on the Grammy site, which, as you could tell from all the things I talked about, the Grammys does, our site is crowded. So the easiest way to get to us is that.
Maureen, would you mind explaining what some of those white papers usually range from?
Yeah, it started with the delivery recommendations, and that paper started back shortly after the P&E Wing started, because everybody was so frustrated at how projects were being turned in the digital age, right? As everybody rushed to digital, they didn't think about things like labeling, and they didn't think about things like archiving. And the poster child for that paper is an unlabeled hard drive wrapped in a Holiday Inn towel in a cardboard box, and that's how it was delivered to the label. So the frustration built, and they created a set of recommendations working with record companies and engineers and producers for how to properly deliver your music so that it's accessible and preserved and labeled. So we've been reworking on that document every couple of years. It needs a new revamp, so we're digging in to do that. It's hard work to do that, because it kind of drew a line through things like certain technologies for storage. So this is a really serious group of people. If you know who George Massenburg is, he's one of the leaders of this, because they took great responsibility in having to draw a line through commercial entities and saying they're not viable anymore or don't use this. So I can't compliment our committees enough. And then we have another paper that's recommendations for creating high-res audio. That's kind of a friendly way to give people tips and tricks as they are able to work in higher resolution, and goes on from there.
Great. I think we have one more minute. I have a question for Ivan with regard to young producers. You know, we're music business programs, we're music technology programs, and we're performance programs. What word of advice would you give, you got a minute, to our young producers who are studying music production in college now?
I would say to be super aware of how technology plays a huge role in the economy of music creation. I think that those are two things that are parallel right now. The music right now seems to be, music discovery is an algorithm, whereas in the past it was all communal. And I think you cannot ignore the impact technology has. So I think as the savvier you are with how to use those metrics to your advantage, it will allow the business aspect to be a lot more seamless as you make a transition from student to professional. So that I will say, pay attention to that ever-changing market that seems to dominate the terrain right now.
Great advice. Well, thanks, Maureen and Ivan, for your time today and for supporting our organization. I know that we have your panel upcoming, Maureen, that you've curated. That's at 2:30 today, so everybody can look forward to the panel taking place in a couple hours. And we're going to move over to Armin, who's going to introduce our keynote today, Portia Saban. Thanks, everyone.